Why is it that online piracy is not a sin? Well, okay, so there's basically two ways in which people argue that online piracy is a sin. So in the first way, people will argue that online piracy is not a sin because it is somehow theft. Now, theft requires that you deprive somebody of the possession of that property. And obviously, in this case, when it's a PDF, you can't really deprive somebody. Like, it's a difference if you have a book in a library and you go and you take the book off the shelf and you're depriving them of the possession of that book versus if they have a PDF and you download that PDF and then distribute it. You're not depriving them of ownership. So that's not theft. And the second way people argue for it is that it is something which is wrong due to the fact that it is against positive law, so it's against the law of the state. But there's basically this concept in law that if a non-enforced law is not a law at all, and the reason behind this, St. Thomas explains it, is basically because part of a valid law is the necessary promulgation of that law, which often happens through its continual and constant enforcement. So if you've ever seen those articles where it's like 10 dumbest laws in America or whatever, and it has, the one where it's you can't walk on the left side of the road on Sunday afternoon or something stupid like that, those laws are actually not laws because they're clearly invalidly promulgated. So when it comes to online piracy laws, because it's not promulgated, you can't argue on the basis of positive law. So yeah, I don't think that either of those two arguments work. So I don't think that online piracy is wrong. And I put that into practice, and insofar as I often encourage people to pirate anything that I do. Okay. Okay. That and intellectual items are not even capable of being real property and so can't be stolen. All alleged intellectual property is just a disguised service plus a rent-seeking law. This is so true. This is so true. All my family is converting frequently. Sub-fed question. One of my local priests also said piracy is a sin. Yeah. So let me explain this to you. Um, so while it's very much a good thing for you to generally default at your priest being correct about things, like of course we need to say that, that is not always necessarily the case. And in certain instances, surely you can somehow appeal to a sort of higher authority, or you can even appeal to the intrinsic reasoning of the thing. Um, there's a lot of priests who say a lot of things. There's a lot of even very eminent theologians who have said a lot of things that have been wrong. So you're not necessarily conscience bound to listen to everything your priest says. No, 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 no. That's not what I meant. No, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean the higher authority of Wagner. Okay, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. I meant, obviously, in this case, a higher authority hasn't spoken. I mean that there's been some magisterial statements that have touched on the issue of intellectual property and stated that intellectual property and its abuses are very damaging. But there hasn't been anything that have directly touched on downloading PDFs. Okay. Um, okay. Oh my gosh.